Have you ever wondered why swiping on dating apps, going to dance classes, and hitting the nightclubs is not giving you the results to meet high quality and attractive women in 2025? Today in this video, we're going to discuss Max's journey, how he was fed up with endlessly swiping and cold approaching, to meeting high quality women using Social Circle and Instagram. Max, so for people who don't know you, for people who are not enlightened with your journey, give us a quick background, like what you discovered and like what's your journey been like when it comes to meeting women. And let's start with like a brief introduction. How you got here, give us like a hero journey.
Yeah, so welcome everyone, and welcome especially the people who are the first time on this YouTube channel. So I'm with Ans together, the co-host of this podcast. We're running the Black Swan system together, and it's not just that we decided to do this from one day to the other. There's a huge journey behind that, and similar to like every other man who wants to get better with women, who wants to work on himself, he started years and years ago with that. So it's not like I just started doing social circle game yesterday, or even personal growth or talking to women like a few days ago or a few years ago. I started with doing that shit almost 8 years ago. So when my first girlfriend broke up with me, so my first girlfriend, quote unquote, because we just had something going on. It was one of my first girls ever. And she broke up with me. There's another story behind that. But what happened eventually is that it really put me into such a deep hole, and I felt so heartbroken. And I just noticed, okay, there are some things I need to work on, be it personal growth, approaching women, coming out of my shell, talking to people in general, getting better with that in order for me to replace her and get to know more girls.
How old were you at the time, and how old are you now?
I was there when she broke up with me. I was 23. Right now I'm 33. So this is almost 10 years ago. And when she broke up with me, I didn't start with that right then and there. It was a slow transition. So I first started just improving online dating, just reading some guides here and there. Back in that time, there was the Pickup Forum, very, very popular, and some other forums in Germany who deal with that, how to improve online dating. And approaching women on the street was this kind of new thing. So there are some very well-known German pickup coaches, but back in that day, I mean, there were only like maybe 2 or 3 guys on YouTube and no one else. So Germany was back in that day in this huge fitness bubble. Everyone was doing his gym videos and fitness tutorials. So talking to women wasn't very popular in Germany.
Underground society.
So yeah, I just tried to improve my online dating at first, and of course that worked semi good.
Semi? What do you mean?
Because there were no guides out there. So there was like literally no online course, no Black Swan system out there that could have helped me a lot. There was like nothing. You had to try it out on your own. So you maybe had some forums and you got some feedback here and there. It's more like bro science in the online dating world. But there was nothing to learn about. You just made a profile, put some very cringy selfies in there, and just hope for the best. And of course, I got some good matches, and I had good experiences with some girls through those apps. So I can only talk about good experiences there, but it wasn't enough, and it wasn't the quality of girls that I wished for, and I couldn't keep those girls because the girls I matched there and I had something going on with them, they ditched me at some point, or they let me just know that I found someone else. And yeah, so in the end, I just got ditched multiple times.
So you were using dating apps and also doing cold approaching at the same time?
No, cold approaching I started doing once I got fed up with the dating apps.
So you were doing dating apps before you did cold approaching?
Yeah. So dating apps, that was the first thing I did, my first touch point in getting to know with women. And then I had good experiences with those, but it's a lot of work and you're not getting enough results. getting more and more interested into the thing with cold approaching women. So, but it was scary. I mean,
Yeah.
talking to women on the street. I mean, imagine you going up to a person you don't know on the street, telling her you like her. I mean, who does that? That's
Yeah,
insane.
that sounds like harassing some people on the streets. That's what it sounds like.
The sound was scary to me, and I just saw those
Okay.
videos from some guys who were doing their YouTube videos starting out. I mean, RSD wasn't even that popular and that big at this point. There was just Owen Cook, maybe Julian Blanc, but I don't believe that even Julian Blanc was that popular or that well known at this point. It was mainly just Owen and I believe Jeffy.
Are you talking about 2016 or 15?
2015, 2016.
So he was quite famous. 2016 is
already
quite famous,
right? Yeah.
He got cancelled in 16, so he was quite famous in 15.
Now, he got cancelled a bit later because when I was 25, 26, that's when I saw his cancellation live. So Julian probably was at this time very, very big, very aggressive in his marketing. And then eventually a year later or so, then he must have been cancelled. So I was starting to follow the RSD guys around, some other German pickup coaches here, but I never did anything on my own. So that's when I thought, all right, let's reach out to some of those pickup forums. Let's get some help. Let's go to some forum to connect with other dudes, to meet up with other dudes, to talk to women. And I met some cool guys through some pickup forum. And then we founded our own like pickup lair in the city I was living before, which is quite small. We had 250,000 people in Lübeck, which is fine, but still, you can't compare it to Berlin or Munich. And then they helped me approach my first girls on the street. And it was scary, but a very refreshing and very freeing experience, a very liberating feeling that was.
That's still better than, for example, I was living in between Munich and another city, like near Augsburg. And in my city, because I would come here during semester vacation, things like that, I was studying. And I would go there during the semester.
Yeah.
And it was only 25,000 people. So you would literally see people again. So I was like, okay, if I do it wrong, I will see her again for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So it's like 250,000 to me. It sounds like, okay, a dream. That's still better. Like chances of you seeing the woman again is lesser. But of course, Munich was much, much better.
And then, I got more and more into pickup. I slowly started to lose my approach anxiety. I mean, you will never lose your approach anxiety. It's a natural reaction that will stay with you forever. You just change your mindset. But I slowly got used to it. I started going to the clubs with those guys. We started hanging around with each other, and that was cool and fun. But Lübeck, the city I was living in, wasn't very suitable for that. So you had to be out a lot of times until you saw some newer girls that you could approach. So there was way more work involved. And where I was having student jobs, I was studying very heavily. I had not so much time. So that's why it was this balance of online dating, cold approach, but my life improved. So I had more and more dates, which was very, very good. In the back of my head, I always had that dream of like quitting Lübeck and then either go to Berlin or Munich. At some point when I finished my studies and I got my student job here in Munich at a very famous TV station, then I was so happy to go to Munich. Of course, because I had the opportunity. I mean, it was a very, very good job for me to learn and finish my studies. But I knew in the back of my head, finally, I can focus on cold approach.
I'm in the playground.
Yeah, I'm in the playground.
Okay, so now you are in Munich, right? Like this was in 2017, 18?
Yeah, it must have been something like that.
Okay, nice. How was it like? Like,
No.
so were you trying both still, like dating apps, cold approaching, or what were you doing?
Yeah, I was doing both a lot, but I was buying so I bought other cold approaching coachings and consulting. So even before Munich, I had like 2 other coaching sessions with some other famous PUA coaches here in Germany. They helped me a lot. And when I was in Munich again, I bought more courses, got into more coaching sessions, and got professional help with that to improve my social skills. And Munich, you can't compare it to Lübeck. So Munich is a whole different level, way more people, way more opportunities. And I was going out regularly, losing and controlling my approach anxiety more and more and more. And there were times, I mean, I was so happy about it because I had a stable job. I knew I was going to stay here in Munich because from my student job at this TV station, I transitioned to another marketing job. So I had a very good job in Munich. I had good money and I just could focus on the one and only thing that I loved. It's just girls. Approach girls, focus on girls. I mean, there are guys who say don't focus on girls, focus on your goals. That's true. Looking back today, I'd say I shouldn't have focused too much on that and I should have focused on other things as well. But looking back at it, it was a huge personal growth for me. And then in Munich, I was approaching a lot. I got to meet a lot of other guys, friends that stayed friends until this day
Yeah.
through the Munich Lair. I believe at some point, even we met through some pickup lair. I was doing so much pickup. I mean, there were weeks where I approached hundreds and hundreds of girls every week. I was using Excel sheets. How many approaches did
That's
I do
crazy.
today? What was the conversion? How many dates got I through that? And I did that literally 4 months, and I was obsessed with that. And I had good results with that. Of course, I had multiple very great experiences with girls, but it was exhausting, especially in the summer. I remember those days where I had one watch on my wrist that counts the steps you made. And when during one season where there was Oktoberfest in Munich, I had like 50,000 steps on just one day, just
So it's
walking around Oktoberfest.
like 12
Inner
hours of
City.
walking.
Yeah, and I believe that day I must have done like surely just hundreds and hundreds approaches on just one day.
At this point, right? So you have taken some coaching. So you were taking action, right? Action was not missing. You said 50,000 steps and 100 approach in a day. Some people don't do it in like their whole lifetime. So you were doing that in a day and like weeks, right? So you had experience and then you were getting feedback as well.
Yeah.
You were doing everything. I know like you were well built, like you were in a good shape at the time as well. You were making good money. The numbers don't lie, right? So you were putting in the effort.
Yeah.
Volume is there.
Yeah.
You are in good shape, right? You are making stable income. Why was it not working?
I mean, I wouldn't say it wasn't working, but at some point, because back in those days, I really had the belief in my head that with the more women I sleep, the happier I get. I reached that point when I was having multiple lays a week, like when I was having sex with 4 to 5 different girls a week, which was a huge success to me in this moment. And then I realized once I got back after the girl left or the next day, and I had finally chance to go into my Excel sheets and put in the numbers. That was one of the moments, and I can really remember that one moment when I was sitting there, I was putting in the numbers, and I just thought, nah, I didn't feel happy. I just felt it like, hey, I was doing it for the numbers, for the lists. I want more and more women, but actually I didn't want it. I believed I wanted it, but it didn't make me happy. And I just saw, all right, there's so much exhaustion in there. The girls that I just literally just fucked a few minutes ago, they were really, really my type. It was quite a hassle to like convince them. I'm getting so totally canceled for this, but convince them or
Got some insane post-nut clarity.
the women I seduced weren't necessarily 100% my type, but I just wanted to seduce them because they were hot. And it was in that moment that I just noticed, all right, there is something missing, but I don't really know why. And this was, funny enough, like a year before Corona broke out. Here's where things got interesting. So from that experience, when I noticed, all right, it's not making me happy anymore, this pickup shit, can I change something else? And I had some good talks with some good friends, and it just told me, hey, you're just looking for the next girl and the next girl and the next girl to fuck. What about getting into relationships? And then I never thought that way because all I wanted is to have more and more girls, but I never thought about relationships. All right, then I did more pickup, but I just slowed down a little bit. I tried to be more chill because I just noticed, all right, I'm too obsessed with that. That was the moment where I deleted all of my lists because they were just harassing my psyche. And I just chilled a little bit more. I got a bit happier, and then I approached a girl who eventually became my girlfriend for like 8 months. And then I felt good, but she wasn't like, hey, this 10 out of 10 girl. She was like 7 out of 10, but I just enjoyed the time with her. But things were good, and then boom, Corona broke out. And while at the same time Corona broke out, she broke up with me as well because I was still too much on my pickup frame. I was having a front, always trying to be this cool dude who's always busy. And there were a lot of other different personal growth things that I had to overcome and still had to work on, especially becoming more chill because I was always under stress, always wanting more.
Was this coming like from an earlier insecurity? Because like that
Yeah.
yet you have to like sleep with like 100 women every year or something like that.
Yeah. So definitely insecurity. Yeah. Insecurity was one part of it. Yeah, because I had that feeling that I missed out a lot because I only got into getting to know girls once I was 23, 24. Up until this time, I was only obsessed with sports. I always had a very obsessed personality, which was looking back too much. I was very obsessed with kickboxing, sports, with my studies, with work, or with girls. And every time I got obsessed with things, I improved on them, but while at the same time, those things were draining me out. And I was feeling at the same time unhappier. So I have to focus on maintaining a balance of being obsessed and being chill with things. Corona was one of the hardest times of my life. I'm honest here. So she broke up with me. I didn't see it coming. And this was the exact time where I developed more feelings for her. But she just saw, right, I'm just this too obsessed motherfucker that can't really chill. Corona broke out, which forced me, the tiger, to stay in the cage and not do anything. And I just wanted to approach again, but I couldn't because there was literally nothing going on. Then I got into my obsessed state again, and I was really obsessed that even friends started to call me, hey, you're just fucking insane. Because once there were this huge shutdown here in Munich where everyone was like forced to stay at home, you couldn't go out after 9 p.m. because then the cops were stopping you here in Munich and just fine you with money because you're out here. And I was still, when it was snowing outside, it was fucking cold. Everyone was with masks. You had to wear a mask. I was at the main central station in Munich, walking around for like hours in circles in the main central station with my mask, approaching girls until at some point the security guards approached me and told me to show my ID and asked me why the fuck I'm running around here in circles.
They're thinking he's selling drugs.
Yeah,
This
so
motherfucker out here
they just thought, hey, this motherfucker is insane. And
is selling drugs.
I
to
just
people.
told the security, hey, I'm waiting here for a friend. And I just thought I approached some girls because I liked them. And I just told them straight away because I was so in my frame, in my mind. And it just told me, hey, buddy, just go home. And once I got home, I talked to friends about this experience. And the next day, I went again to the main central station. And the day after that, and the day after, I was really in my state that friends told me, hey, do you really don't think you have a problem with that shit?
Yeah,
You don't think-
you were disturbed. When do you discover that okay, you need to
Yeah.
make a change, or
Yes.
let's say the way you're doing things is different, like quite different than you were doing back then? So, what made you realize that there needs to be a change?
Yeah.
The way you do things, the way you meet women, attract them, or date them. Maybe let's say you told like okay, you need to be in a relationship as well. So, what changed, or what was that? Was there like an inflection point?
Yeah, here comes the interesting part. So once Corona was over, so once people were able again to go out, meet again, so socializing became like a new thing again. There were events happening, all that stuff. Then I got into the social circle game. So I already saw some courses, some masterminds here and there, but it was still a new thing. It kind of felt like this pickup thing back in the day when I was starting out with it. Then I saw, right, I can do cold approach again, and I did cold approach again and online dating. But I noticed very, very fast that, hey, this is just going to be the same shit again. And the experience that was so key for me here is that once Corona was over, I started literally at ground zero again. I had approach anxiety. I had no social circle of women. I just had my buddies from cold approach, and that's it. So I had to start literally from zero again. I had to do some things again to overcome approach anxiety, go out again, collect the numbers, do this, do that. And this felt exhausting. And I thought, all right. And then at the same time, I see guys like Dan Bilzerian, other guys on Instagram, or guys just in the club hanging around with girls. And I'm just thinking, nah, there is just definitely something I'm missing here. So these guys surely didn't get those girls because they approached them somewhere on the street. There has to be something different.
What was different about these women that you did not think that they were not from the streets?
They were hotter. They were really, really
Yeah.
hot. And they enjoyed the presence of the guys. And I mean, I met a lot of women through cold approach and my buddies as well. And sometimes we just invited girls to go out with dinner together, or some other girls that we met through friends. But these girls, they were cute and they were good looking, but they weren't on that level. And the vibe was totally different. When me and my cold approach buddies went out with some friends, it was more this really type of friend vibe that we had there. But I mean, if we are in the club with a bunch of girls, the vibe is still friendly, but it's not this friend zoney vibe. It's more like that we friend zone the girls and make them part of our circle, rather than other girls decide to come to another friends meeting because they already knew that they friend zone the other guys. So
Okay.
it's a totally different vibe.
So you discover that there is a reality or like parallel universe of
Yeah.
things happening differently.
Yeah, so there's this big ice wall that everyone's talking
So once you discover it, how do you then progress through it, and then like what happens like when you discover it? So how do you then like start doing it, and then what kind of results you see, and like how is it different than the older way?
Yeah. So Instagram became a bigger thing at this point, right? So Dan Bilzerian was already a name until that point, but there were more and more guys posing with girls, more and more celebrities and famous people who had their Instagrams fixed, where you could definitely see that they have a social circle, that girls are surrounding them, that they do something different than other guys do. So I just got more and more into the topic. I noticed very, very fast that you need to fix your Instagram, so that you need to show yourself in a different light than a lot of other people do, to first of all attract those people and get into contacts with them. So this is very important. What was good for me, I'm a videographer and photographer anyways, so I had no issues in fixing my Instagram, do some cool shots, post here and there, ask a friend for me to snap some cool pictures to fix my Instagram, and then maintain a cool lifestyle on Instagram by sharing interesting things. And that's when we already met each other a couple of times through cold approach. And then I just saw your Instagram, and then I noticed that you were going to be part in this photo shoot somewhere in Belgium happening. And then at the same time, I saw these profiles from these guys who are hosting that photo shoot in my feed. Then I reached out to them. We got connected more to each other again. I mean, we already knew each other, but then I saw, okay, you're going to be part of there. You were already helping these guys out. I saw these guys hanging around with models, and I just noticed, all right, these guys are kind of doing the same as I'm doing, but they already have some models on their side. And I just really want to know how to get those models. And because I'm starting out with this, I mean, I had some photo shoots with some other models one-on-one, but I didn't knew how to scale this thing, how to have more women surround me. And these guys obviously had some knowledge about that, and I wanted to learn from them. So that's why I said, hey guys, can I help you out sometime during your next photo shoot? How's it looking? And
so you find out that these guys are doing an event in Belgium, right? You're from Munich.
exactly, yeah.
To get context, Belgium is like you have to fly there, or like it takes
So actually,
a day there to get there.
So actually, it wasn't an event. It was just a video shoot for a hotel that I saw. So there's this one guy who is a director, and he wants to shoot some video for this hotel. There were multiple girls being part of that video. So this is the actual thing that happened there. And I just saw, right, doing the marketing with a lot of girls, and they're shooting some girls, and maybe we can use at the same time this location, use this opportunity to have a photo shoot for ourselves. You were helping them out as well. You were going to that place too because you wanted to learn from them too. You saw their marketing, they were kind of doing the same thing. We all created this idea, hey, let's do this photo shoot for us, for the models, invite more girls and then have a good time together.
Okay, so you are now connected with the guys in Belgium. You're like, hey, I'm a videographer. I would like to help you out because you want to learn something from them. You give value, right, to exchange, and then like you learn something from them. So you give them your time, and then they, in return, they teach you something that they know, right? So this is like a skill exchange. So you network with the guys who are already playing at a higher level. So you did that. And like for someone listening to this, they're thinking, okay, why do I need to do a photo shoot? Like, why can't I just meet girls like that directly?
Yeah, because photo shoots give you the opportunity to surround yourself at the same time with multiple girls without making it obvious that you find them attractive, right? So that's, you can really do this with cold approach. And another thing is, I mean, a lot of guys text girls on Instagram, but they mostly send dick pics or some weird cringy messages. But if you text girls with the right message, and I already had experiences with that, luckily, because I did multiple photo shoots with other girls before I got into that. So I had some experience how to open a chat with a girl and how to provide value, how to give her and make her interested into something for her to then come there. That's when a lot of things changed for me.
So essentially, it's like a big lead magnet. So you are you are hosting like a photo shoot.
Yeah.
So you did like a bunch of good things there, right? So you're in Belgium and you are learning this thing how to create this lead magnet. So you then text girls from your profile. Hey, we are doing this event in this location in Belgium.
Yeah.
And most of those girls were Belgium, as I was there also. They see your profile. They're like, okay, this dude seems legit. He has experience in that. His profile looks good.
Yeah.
And then because the way you text sounds legit, right? So then they come to your event, right?
Yeah.
And when they come to your event, then they think, okay, this is a very cool guy. He has high status, obviously, because it depends on the setup that you are building, right?
Yeah.
That was a very high-end hotel where we were doing that event. And status is like all associations, right? When we will look at brand deals, for example, like any commercial you see, like especially the luxury ones, it's all associations.
Yeah.
Same thing if like a girl, he sees you, okay, he hosted this event at this cool location, so he has to be a high status guy. So it helps you get more leads, a girl you don't know, and then she's in front of you. And then also building attraction and pre-selection, other reacting positively, and then you can show so many attraction trigger. This is like what I noticed. What was your experience with that?
Yeah, 100%. So this is basically everything that you described right now is basically me connecting the dots back, looking at those experiences. I mean, if you're learning all these things at the moment, you're trying new things out, you don't really know what to do, everything seems to be new. But after you made those experiences, then you're able to connect the dots back again. And this is exactly what you were describing right now. So there was high status involved, the right association, some legit messages, a fixed Instagram profile, and then reaching out to the girls, most importantly, in a very value-giving way. Hey, there's a photo shoot happening. This is the location. Do you want to come? The girls check out your Instagram profile. You have some cool pictures in there. They assume, all right, this guy must be legit one way or another because he's not like other guys who have just cringy selfie pics on his Instagram. Maybe I'm interested. Let's text with him and maybe I will go there.
Okay, so what were the results of you participating in this event? Like, what did you get out of this?
Yeah, so first of all, I came there and I helped the main guy out to do the video shooting. So we were just shooting a social media commercial for the hotel, which was very, very good. And after that, or even during the photo shoot, we were already having a lot of fun. So there were already many girls at this location. Everything looked so professional. All the girls were astounded by the location. And what happens there is that everyone feels way more connected to you. I mean, you have to be a reason to be there. And when a girl is there as well, and she sees all of that, she knows these guys, they have to have a reason to be there, and that's why they're more open to talk to you. They approach you actually first. They are happy to talk to you. There's no weird small talk, or there's no weird approach. It's just this whole collective that has its own set of values.
I had a light bulb moment,
Yeah.
right? When you were talking, like something I realized at that point, right? So, for example, I was also like doing cold approaches. I was getting,
Yeah.
I think, some attractive girls, but like, also like there's, you have to like approach a lot to actually even approach attractive girls. Like there's not a lot of them, right?
No.
At this point, when we were at this location, at that event, I realized like the girls, like all of those who were around, like they were very attractive,
Yeah.
and they were like showing interest in me.
Yeah.
So I felt like an ego boost. I'm like, that girl, right? She would like be bitchy to me if I would like approach her in a nightclub or something like that. I would like to have like, show some game,
Yeah.
right? Hey, look at my game.
Exactly.
Look at my push-pull, right?
Yeah.
Cold read. But here I was sitting, and then she's like qualifying herself to me. I was amazed. I'm like, she's telling me, hey, Aunt, like how you got here.
Yeah.
Like, because I was
Yeah.
well dressed and something like that. I'm like, okay, that's crazy, man. Like, this is this is what I noticed. Like, what was it for you? Was it different? Like, girls like coming up to you thinking, or then the normal way you were doing things?
Totally same experience. Totally same experience. I mean, we had ex-Miss Germany there in Belgium because there was one guy who knew her and he invited her to the place. And I mean, that's something. As a girl, you have to look a certain way to be ex-Miss Germany. So she had the title once, and she was also a bachata and salsa dancer, and she's a very attractive looking girl, right? And when I talked to her, she was very open. She was asking me questions back. She was doing selfie videos with everyone. And I already knew, and I had the same thought that you described. If I would have approached that girl on the street, I would have to do so much qualification if she wouldn't have ditched me in the first place, right? And right then and there, the setup is suited for you to just overcome all those things that you normally have to do during cold approach, qualifying yourself, making her feel comfortable. You don't have to do those things. Girls will then qualify for you and talk to you. So this is amazing.
Yeah, it happens like every time when you do like an event like that, there's people coming to you, and like it still amazes me. I'm like, now I'm getting more used to it, but in the beginning I'm like, man, I'm still the same guy.
Yeah.
Like what's changing is like.
Yeah, I remember one time when we were in that one club P1, and we had this lounge which is elevated, which is with a lot of sofas. I mean, it's a very cool lounge, and we were there that one evening. I mean, in that lounge, I believe it was just you, me, maybe another guy, and let it be 20 girls around us. And I just saw other guys passing by. And then I was there with my camera because we know the host of that club, and we always want to give him something back with club photos and videos. And when I was there with my camera doing casually some photos here and there was one girl passing by, and she literally asked me, "Who the fuck are you?" But on German. So, hey, wer bist du eigentlich? Like in this sense of, hey, who are you? This guy who just is there surrounded by girls.
Okay, got it. Okay, so now you did that in Belgium. You learned a few things. So now you come back to Munich.
Yeah.
How did you then apply the principles you learned in your own city?
Yeah, so just quickly finishing Belgium for a second here. So when we had that photo shoot, I mean, we were just shooting the video first, and then we had that photo shoot in Belgium with the models. Then I had multiple realizations, because when I was having those shoots in some rooms with those girls, and I was having photo shoots with multiple girls at the same time, I realized, hey, these girls are competing now for my attention. This is where it switched in my head. Hey, these girls, for the first time in my life, multiple girls are competing for my attention. That's when I thought, all right, I need to figure this shit out more. And then when I came back to Munich, we got connected even closer to each other, and then we started to do more things. I believe we did then another photo shoot somewhere in Munich, and then we organized a penthouse party here in Munich.
A fashion show before
a fashion show. We were there. And that's when we had the opportunity to invite more and more girls from Munich, from our region in there, and get to know the kind of develop the scene for us here in Munich.
Like, did you have to invest a lot of money, or how it came to that?
No, I didn't invest any money. So for the fashion show, I was there as a photographer, so helping out. I believe for the photo shoots that we did, we had to spend a few bucks for the location and for some food, but then that's it.
So what you're
Nothing.
saying is that to do all that, like to meet attractive girls,
Yeah.
you don't have to spend like a million or like
No,
like
nothing.
thousands of bucks.
No. Actually, I believe it would have hurt us more if we would have spent too much money, because then we would have just led with money. Let's say we were back in Germany and we, let's say, rent a villa with a bunch of Lamborghinis and some private chef for the villa, and then all the girls are coming there, then it's kind of weird. I mean, it's like out of nowhere, this whole flashy things. I mean, of course, some girls would have found it attractive, and pulling some girls that way would have worked definitely. But you're leading with money, A, and B, you're kind of hurting your personal brand, and you're setting a stone for that. Now you have to be always that way. But if you manage to build a brand, a social circle brand, a guy who's always surrounded by girls without spending a euro like we did, then you have a very, very good setup.
Yeah. So the way I look at it is what we did very good is like, I mean, I was still working a 9 to 5. No way I could like invest even like $1,000 for me was like
Yeah.
considerable amount. So what we did was good is we started making connections. People who are top players in our city.
Yeah.
You know, I was very active at that, you know, making connections, meeting them,
Yeah.
and then making things happen.
Yeah.
A lot of those earlier events that we see in 2023 were just basic connections. Like
Yeah.
we didn't have to spend any money, right? So
Yeah.
we just help someone solve a problem, and then in return we get a location, we get access to a VIP list, right? The fashion show, we were able to bring like 60 people, met so many girls there, and also like different things, like different parties. So we never really spent any money, or it was like so mediocre. Like you would spend more money on a dating app than
Yeah.
we spent on one of those.
Yeah.
So that was incredible. So you're now meeting girls in Munich, or like very high quality that you previously were not able to meet, right? So how is life changing now?
Noticed very, very fast, and there's a very famous German saying from the northern Germany. I am always surprised that not a lot of people in the south of Germany know this, but it goes like, take your hands off your dick. And I saw that very, very fast in Belgium, especially, that if I would just went for it, like in my PUA club style with the hand of God and spinning them around and making out, I would have fucked things up big time. So I already knew from right off the start, you have to keep things professional and first of all, build a brand for you to then later on nurture you, whether that be dating or business. That's completely up to you. But first thing, you have to build something up, like throw a cool event, take part in something very, very cool, focus on that one thing, and then slowly and steadily but safely transition to the dating phase. So for the first few months, I didn't date any girls from the social circle. I just had some other girls here and there through online dating or cold approach, but I didn't date so much from social circle because I was still getting to know some people, making sure that I leave a good impression, socialize with everyone, get to know everyone, and that's pretty much it. And then later down the road, I mean, it was a few months into all of that. That's when I first started to date those girls and flirt with some of those girls. But it didn't happen because I made the first move. It actually happened because girls gave me so much compliance and so many signals at the same time from multiple girls that I was the one guy had the ability to choose. So I was basically the girl in the club who gets approached by a lot of guys. Now I'm the one being surrounded by girls, all giving me compliance, and I'm choosing one girl and moving things with that one girl into some flirtiness. It's like a no-brainer. It just happens. You don't have to do any persuasion, no tactics. It just happens because you have so much value as a man.
So also like the girls were way better quality than
Yeah.
what you were getting
Yeah.
before.
And also girls that I would probably have never met through cold approach. Yeah, because a lot of these girls, and I talk to a lot of them about how many times they get cold approached on the streets. And a lot of girls, especially nowadays, they tell me, hey, yeah, today I just got approached 2 times in the city, but whatever. It became normal. Back in the day, it wasn't very normal. Girls were happy about it, but nowadays it's like, yeah, like they're swiping on Tinder.
Yeah, I think I also have not seen any girl who's telling me, I cannot recall even one girl
Yeah.
who's like, yeah, I met my
Yeah,
boyfriend, like he cold
that's the
approached
next
me.
thing. Yeah,
No, like can be like in the bar, we met in the bar, but it's more and more online.
yeah,
He texted me on Instagram,
Yeah.
and now we are banging, doing shaboing,
yeah,
right? So it's more like either in the bar, but
yeah,
every passing day it's either dating apps
yeah,
or through like I think the most attractive girls, right? So met so many models, and this is like the most common way they meet them. It's like they meet them through social circles.
yeah.
Hey, we were working together in this social thing, right?
He was just there.
He was there,
Yeah.
he appeared, and all like he was at a house party
Yeah.
that I attended. So this is I think especially the girls were very very attractive.
Yeah.
This is how they meet them. Either I met also like in the VIP area of the nightclub,
Yeah.
right? So it's all like status driven.
Yeah.
I didn't hear, hey, he approached me on the street.
Yeah.
I was sitting on a bench and then he approached me in a park.
Yes.
So I cannot recall anyone. I know like thousands of people.
Yeah.
I cannot recall a single one.
Yeah.
Maybe people still do that. It's very rare. Of course, you have to be good at that. Okay.
Yeah. Me neither. So I can't recall any girl who said, hey, I met my boyfriend or my fiance that I currently have through cold approach. I believe there was one girl who said something. Yeah, this guy approached me on the street and then we were meeting a couple of times and that's it. But despite that, I mean, we've talked literally to thousands of girls about that topic and none of them said anything like that.
So what is your then, if we give like a outline, right? So what is your current way of meeting women? Like, do you rely on multiple channels? Let's say if you have to go for quality, then what do you look for? Or how is your current way of meeting women in 2025 looking like?
Yeah, of course, I use online dating as well, but I don't focus on it or I don't rely on it. Of course, I'm using pictures that I get from all the events to optimize my dating profile. It works very, very good. That's just one thing to do social circle anyways to get good content, because that's some content you will never get anywhere, which pushes your value on Tinder and all those platforms. But my preferred way and all the best women that I met over the last few years was actually through the social circle. Those were models, girls that are totally my type, and I would have probably never met them through cold approach. It wouldn't have worked with them. I mean, there are a few girls in our circle. Let's be honest here. I don't want to say her name, but the tall blonde one, which was in Como with us in Italy. If you approach her on the street, I mean, come on, you can't game girls like this. And funny enough, I talked to her once about the stuff. Hey, do you get a cold approached? What about the club? And she gets approached tons. I mean, she has 300K followers on Instagram. So there are sheiks in her Instagram DMs. And these are, at some point, you will reach a certain level of girls that you just can't game. They will see right through that. You just have to have value as a man. And
to a person listening to this, right? I'm a normal guy. So I've tried out dating apps, cold approaching, but okay, I want the quality girls, but I don't want like gold diggers, or I don't want like shallow girls. Do you think if I use Instagram, I have to like show this fake self or just like that? Do I get like girls who are only shallow and gold diggers, or is there a way to meet high quality girls regardless?
yeah, so first of all, you have to keep in mind Instagram is fake. It is a fake platform. I hate to say it, but it is. So everyone shows themselves on Instagram from the best side. Of course, you shouldn't just post pictures with Bugattis and write in the caption that it's your Bugatti if you don't own it. Yeah, it's cool to show off, but you have to show off in an authentic way.
What does it mean?
for example, not lying. So if you're straight up lying, hey, I just bought this Bugatti, then it's not authentic. But if you just happen to snap some cool photos with a Bugatti and you have some funny caption below there, the car doesn't have to necessarily be your own. It's just a cool photo and you showing off some snippets of your life. That's the point here. Same thing with girls. You can't like post a picture with some girls with them you're posing, and if you just post pictures with girls and they're all posed, people will see through that. So there has to be a balance of post content, candid style content, which is just right from the moment. This is very important, of course. Not lying, not pretending to be someone else.
What if someone says, I don't need 9s and 10s, I just want a 5 who respects me?
I mean, even the 5s are on Instagram. I mean, even 5s get tons and tons of DMs on Instagram. And I mean, girls nowadays have so many expectations. Even the 5s and 6s are disillusioned that they will only want to swipe right on a man who meets certain expectations. I mean, in general, of course, it's easier to get a 5 or a 6 because the competition around them is not so big as around a 9 or a 10. But I mean, why do you want a 5 or a 6? I mean, you shouldn't be watching these videos if you want just a 5 or 6.
I was talking to this one guy, like he became a client of ours. He's like, man, I don't need a 9, I just need a 5. I'm like, dude, let's say if I train you to play in the National League, don't you think you can play in the street? On the streets?
Yeah.
Like, don't you think you will be able to play in your local playground?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, will you perform better on your local playground if you are able to perform international?
I like that.
It's like, yeah, makes sense. I'm like, think of it as like your training ground.
Yeah.
So the reason why we only have attractive, you can just scroll through our Instagram, mine, Max, it's like linked in the description. You will see that average girl is like 8.5, 9 or above, right? The reason for that is like we are so much trained to be around those girls who are like very, very attractive that we feel normal when we actually meet a girl like that and we have to flirt with her. Otherwise, like if you are not used to that kind of girl, your heartbeat will start raising. You will feel nervous because you're not used to that kind of environment.
Yeah.
So same thing, right? So even if you say, hey, I don't deserve a 9, well, you have some self-limiting beliefs. But even then, I think it's a very good thing to be able to spend time with girls of that caliber, so that you get used to it, and then eventually you will feel like, okay, I like the 5 and 6s don't even turn me on. I'm like a very soft person in front of them.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's true. So the point that you mentioned is very, very true. When I look back and, for example, using that one tall blonde girl as an example again, I'm very chill around her. When we were in Italy with her, she was very happy to join us. Oh man, I would have been under so much stress if I would have approached her on the streets. So because that would be totally different. And we got used to hanging around those very attractive looking girls, right? This is something that will help you tons and tons. And I noticed that, I mean, it happened to you as well, right? That people just ask you, why are you so chill around
Yeah. Totally. So the way I see it, right, from an outside perspective, like previously, when you were trying to meet women, you were trying to convince them with your words. Hey, look at me. Like, of course, game is important. I will totally agree with that. But that's like most of other guys. Like, it's hard to game girls like who are 9s and 10s because they are not everywhere. So you have to be at a specific place at a specific time. As I said, like it's I don't know too many guys who are gaming 10s or 9s even on the street. They're out there, but like it's very ineffective way to do that. Okay, that's the first thing. And now your current way is that you build collaboration with other men, and then you just have opportunities for girls to show up, and then like things happen there. Like one thing leads to another, right? You have the environment around you plays for you. Can you tell us more about that? How your Instagram plays a part in that, and then how collaborations, connections play a part in that, and how eventually you think it's like more effective way to meet high quality girls.
Of course, cold approach is a very valuable skill that I think every man should have nonetheless. I mean, just approaching girls or just talking to them without having fear or to men is very valuable. But at some point, you just have to level up. At some point, you have to create an environment that works for you rather than you just constantly competing with other men for something that every other man wants, right? You have to create that environment. And in order for you to create this environment, you have to have a solid foundation in social media, definitely. So it is the way it is. Social media plays a very important role of our society. It's because a place we're all hyper connected with each other. Everyone is on his phone constantly, and that's why you should leverage it because girls will be there anyways. And if they're on Instagram anyways, so many times, so many hours on the day, they might as well just look at your profile rather than on someone else's. So you just have to play along the rules, right? And I know there are people who say this is superficial, but medias like that were always used throughout history. So it's just the medium that changed over time. And you have to have a good foundation in that because people will always come back to that one place when they want to check you out. When you text them something new, they might check out your Instagram. If you post a story on Instagram, they see that story, they stay in touch with you that way. It's this parasocial relationship that people develop with you over time when they see more and more stories of you. I mean, it happened to us a lot of times that girls tell us, "Hey, I see so many stories of you, and it's funny to see you back again." And we never met those girls before, so this plays a huge part.
I personally got to learn a lot about women. So I was not
Yeah.
sleeping with a lot of them, but like with once became good friend, I got to listen how women process a few things,
Yeah.
right? So then I realized, okay, she's texting with this one guy just to keep him in the orbit.
Yeah. Yeah.
She doesn't want the guy, but he just wants that, okay, like, okay, for a rainy day,
Yeah.
when I'm feeling bad, I will call him and then I will go out on a date and then, like still not sleep with him.
Boy, I've been in that position.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking like, okay, that's crazy, but right? So I would have never learned that if I was not like, hanging out with her or like being friends with her, right? So it's like a different perspective. Of course, I would not still take a lot of advice from my female friends about how I go about dating. So I can get perspective, but I will not like let them influence everything. But still, I learned so many things like how girls behave.
Yeah.
They can be very flaky because there's hormones involved. Their blood is more influenced, every moon cycle. So that's something I learned, like how the behavior changes, how they are more emotional. They play different kind of games. So they're waiting for the right one and then they're like having different options open. And I'm telling to this girl, hey, like, why do you keep on like having these guys around? Like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
You should, as a girl, you should spend time with a guy who's serious with you. I told her, like, she's like, hey, Hans, like, you do the same. You date like 5 different girls at the same time. I'm like, yes, but I will give you the opposite advice, right? Spend time with a guy who's serious with you, not like a guy who's like a bunch of like, pimping around.
Yeah, it's so funny because all the girls, and I remember when we were having brunch, we were talking to all of the girls about why is it so bad to play games when you date someone. And all the girls agreed, of course, yeah, I don't play games. I don't do that. And once we got more specific, then one girl showed me like chats with that one guy, and I was saying like, why are you playing games with him? Yeah, but you have to keep him interested in that and this and that. And I'm like, you cannot be serious. So that's what Ansa's saying. I mean, you can get a perspective on a girl's advice on relationship and dating, but I would never rely on that. But because it's one thing that they say and a whole different other thing that they do.
You were struggling with dating apps, cold approach, right? And then you realize, okay, there's a alternate reality that exists. And then you existed on it, like you fix your Instagram. There are some videos popping up right now, how to fix your Instagram, how you can leverage it. Yeah, thanks, Max, for sharing your story. So if you are also like fed up constantly with getting rejections from like 5s and 6s on dating apps and getting no results on cold approaching because it's winter, then you can click on the link below this video in the comments and book a call with us. And together we will see in your situation what we can do to help you build setups so that it's becoming easy for you to attract and meet high quality women. And then they come into your life, right? So we will help you do that. And then we'll see, at least create a roadmap for you how to achieve that in your own city or how to build like a personal brand that makes you very attractive and can also help you to meet guys or the top players or top dogs in your own city. Let's look into that. So for that, just click in the link on the description below and let's talk.